I'm a second grade artist. I'm so excited to be able to come to you in this video format and to be teaching you today and really just showing you how to make this project kind of like we're in the classroom, except you're in the classroom that is my living room. So I miss you, and I'm really excited to do this with you, and I hope you're doing well. I really am excited about all the photos that I've received of your art so far during this remote learning time, and I just want to encourage you to keep up the great work. You're doing a fabulous job, and I'm very proud of you, and I miss you, and I'm hoping that someday soon we'll get to see each other in school in the art room. But in the meantime, I thought that we could make some art together right here. So what I have here is I have my little desk set up, and I have my canvas. I'm going to tell you about my plant just attacked me. I'm going to tell you about the materials first, and then I'll tell you what we're going to do. So I have a canvas here. We've actually never used this in the art room together. We usually use what? What do we normally do? We use paper, right? So this is kind of sturdier. This is what you would normally see a painting on if you went to like an art gallery or maybe even hanging up in your home. So I chose that. You can use a sturdy paper as well for this project, but canvas works best. So I have my canvas. You're going to need some tape. It has to be like masking tape, or this is painter's tape, some kind of tape that's thick because we're going to be kind of taping some strong lines across that canvas. And then we're going to be painting on top of it. So we want to make sure it doesn't peel off while we are painting. I have just two colors, a primary color or a warm color, which is red, and I have black. You can use any other color, but you have to use black for this project, and I'm going to tell you why in a little bit. So what do you have to use? Black. Can you choose your own color? Yes. So I'm going to just, in case you didn't notice, I'm going to kind of talk to you as if I were talking to you in the art room, but it's a little weird for me because nobody is responding here in my living room. So I'm just going to imagine that we're in the art room together. How does that sound? Pretty good, right? I also have this little container for me because I think that this is an easier way to clean up the mess. I can save it. It has a lid. You can use a paper plate. You can use, if you have a paint palette, you can use that. You can use a container. It's totally up to you. You might even want to, the cool thing about this is if you use a reusable container, if you really like the project and you really like how it turns out, you can use this to make another art project. So it's a fun way to take care of the environment. We want to do that with our materials. I also have some paintbrushes here. I have a thick paintbrush and one that's a little bit smaller. We're really not going to need any paintbrushes that are super tiny for this. It's not very detailed. However, I'm just thinking at the end you might want to challenge yourself, in which case you would need a tiny brush. So really, for the part that I'm going to show you, you just need two thick brushes. But if you want to add your own little flair at the end and make it very unique, you can use tiny brushes as well to add details. Whew. So that's our materials. Did you notice I don't have something that we normally have in the art room when we paint? Normally, I have buckets of water on your tables so that we can rinse our brushes. We don't need that today. We are going to be reminding ourselves about the element of art that starts with a V. V-A-L-U-E. Do you know what that spells? Value. You know what, before we start, I don't know how you're feeling. I'm feeling a little bit nervous, but excited because this is new. And so I think it would be really cool to have a mindful moment with you. So if you feel like you want to have a mindful moment, you can join me. I'm just going to take a couple deep breaths. And what I like to do with you, you know this, put your fingertips together. And when you separate your fingertips, you breathe in, right? And then when you get closer with your fingertips and they touch together, you're breathing that air out. So let's take 3 deep breaths before we get started on our art project. Breathe in and breathe out. Okay, let's do it again. Breathe in and breathe out. Okay, one more. Breathe in, breathe out. All right. Woo, I'm ready. I'm ready. So, we're going to be talking about value, which is an element of art. Now, second grade artists, you know about every single element of art now. Since kindergarten, we've been learning about all the elements of art. Line, shape, color. What's the element of art that describes how something feels? Texture. Line, shape, color, texture, value, and space, right? And I believe that's all if I'm thinking off the top of my head. So we're going to use value. We know that a kind of value that is light is called a tint. Say tint. We've made art projects recently that had to do with tints. We made them in the art room. We're going to learn about the opposite of tints today. And the opposite of tints are called shades. Say shades. That's pretty simple. When you think of outside, when you go outside, you see the trees, the sun is shining. Like today, I have that natural light coming in. It's beautiful out there. There's shadows, right? The trees, what do they make? They make shade. So is that shade dark or light? Think about that. It's dark, right? It's usually dark. It's darker. It makes the land, the ground where that shade is look darker. So shades are darker, tints are lighter. We are going to make a shade by using that color that we picked. And this is brand new, so I have to open it. We need to squirt some of that into our container or on our paint palette. You don't need a ton. Remember, if you do accidentally put too much, you can save it for another project. That's no big deal. All right, I got my red, which is a, what kind of color? A primary and a, is it warm or cool? Warm, right? So I have my black paint now because in order to make a shade, you need to add black. But think back to when we used our white and our color. We made a tint. We did that a few weeks ago. When we did that, did we add a ton of white at first? Did we just squeeze it all in and make a really light tint? No, we did not, right? We did a little bit by a little bit. So what we're going to do is, especially with black, black is very powerful. Can you say black is powerful? So we don't want to use too much. We want to use only a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop it in, if it'll drop. And I actually just realized I kind of forgot to do something. I forgot to even prepare my canvas. So we're going to take a break from the paint and we're going to do that. Take your tape. You can have some pieces that are short. You can have some pieces that are long. And we're just going to tape across the canvas. Now my tape is being a little troublesome and I can see it's already starting to pop up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to really stick it down. And is it okay if this project doesn't turn out perfectly? Is it okay if my tape pops up while I'm painting? Should I freak out and say, oh no, my tape is popping up, my project is ruined? No, it's okay if you get upset, right? But it's okay. It happens. So I'm just going to kind of try my best. Do your best with what you have. We're not in the art room, so we all have different materials, right? So I am just making some random lines, some random shapes. Now, some of these shapes, what kind of shape is that? Do we know the name of that shape? We do, right? It's a triangle. A triangle, we learned about this in first grade if you had me for first grade art. A triangle is a geometric shape because we know the name of it. So, some of our shapes are geometric, shapes that we know the name of. Some of them might be organic. If you really like the organic shapes, go for it. However, I will say that the style of art that we are inspired by for this project, that kind of looks like a K. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. The style of art that we're making for this project is called Cubism. Pablo Picasso, we know his name. Pablo Picasso, very famous artist. He made a lot of Cubist art. And a lot of times, oftentimes, the shapes in Cubist artworks are geometric shapes. So, make sure you add at least 1 or 2 geometric shapes. All right. Now, is there one right way to do this? Does yours have to look exactly like mine? No. That would be really, really impressive if you followed along exactly like I did it. And it would be a kind of also a little bit not as exciting because you're a different artist than me, right? So if your art looked just like mine, it would be pretty boring. The world would be a boring place if we all made the same kind of art. So I think I like how that is. I actually think I just might add a couple little more shapes. Just a couple little ones. And actually it looks like I have mostly geometric shapes. It's just how it turned out. Ooh, I like that. I'm going to tape that across the corner. And there it is. All right, back to our paint. So, I also realized after I put the black paint in that I forgot to just start with my plain color because for this project you can use the plain color that you chose as well as your shades. Say shades. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, if I can show you really closely, there's my paint. It's like a red eye with a black pupil. I'm going to kind of just dip around that black and just get some red because I want to make sure that my Cubist painting also has just some red shapes. So, I'm going to just paint some of these white spots. I'm going to try my best to help the tape stick down, and when I paint over it, I'm going to hold it down because I'm realizing the tape that I have is not working so great, but that's okay. We can make do, right? You have what you have. You do your best. Don't forget the edges too, like the top, because we want our painting to look completely finished and beautiful. All right. How are your paintings going? I bet they're looking beautiful because I know that you guys are all really great artists. I wonder if anyone chose red like I did. I guess you'll have to send me pictures and then we can kind of talk about our art together. I can't wait to see it. And feel free, like I said, to lift up the canvas and make sure you get all those edges. All right, now, stick. Alrighty, I think I'm gonna add one more, just one more. One more red. Just a little one. Boop. There we go. Now, I don't need water because we're just using red. We're just using red, right? No other colors. We're using black. And all I need to do is mix this bad boy up and make a shade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt this so you can see. And as I mix it, I wonder if you can see that. I don't want it to slip out though on my carpet. I'm going to mix it and it got a little bit darker. Ooh, that's pretty. It's kind of, what does that remind you of, that color? Kind of looks to me in person it looks a little darker than I think it looks on video. It looks to me like the color of like a really vibrant brick. Really pretty. All right, I'm gonna take my, what is this called? If it's a color mixed with black, it's a kind of value. It's a kind of dark value, so it's called a shade. Say shade. All right. Let's go pick some shapes to paint. I think I just want 2 with this shade. And you know what? If you, during the painting process, realize that you want to add some more shapes because it's not, maybe it's not enough for you and you think it would look beautiful if you had more shapes, go for it. Stop, put your paintbrush down in a spot that's not going to get your table messy, and add some more tape. So I'm going to add a little bit more black paint. Notice I only added a little bit because the one thing that we know is with paint, you can add a little, right? And you can add a little more, but you can't take it away once it's in there. You can't take it away once it's mixed. You can always add more. So I'm gonna mix it. If I like the shade, great, I can go for it. I can paint a shape. If I don't like it, it's not dark enough, it's not different enough, then the last one, I'm gonna add a little more. Yeah, that's gonna be good. So I'm mixing. So basically, our goal for this project, in case you weren't sure, is to learn how to mix some shades, right? Practice our knowledge of values, and really to become practiced, successful painters. This is great practice. Is it okay if yours doesn't look perfect? Yes, of course it is. Okay, that's almost looking like brown to me. Okay, I'm gonna pick another shape. Ooh la la! Can you say ooh la la? Beautiful. Voila! Not done yet, but it's looking good. Now, I just realized I've only been using one brush. That's okay. This brush seems to be working perfectly. The size is just right. All right. I think I'm gonna add some more black. Ooh, no, I see a really good spot. The fun thing about this is you're just gonna look so different and so unique. All of ours will look unique. And the shapes that you use are gonna be different. The shades that you use are gonna be different. That's what I love about art. Everyone's art looks different because we're all so different. Alrighty. Let's get some more shade mixing going on. Ooh, that was a lot. Let's see. Did I add too much? No, that looks pretty. Just the thought of the shades that you're mixing is exciting. I wonder what color you chose. If you chose yellow, you might notice when you add the black and make a shade, it'll start to look kind of like a dirty green. Might look cool though. All right. My next shade. That looks kind of similar to my other shade. All right. You're doing a great job. This is just such great practice with painting and value. This is fabulous. Fabulous. All right. Ooh, this just looks like a dark chocolate. Mmm. But you know what? I think I'm going to add even more, because I want my shades to all be a little bit different, and I want it to be noticeable. And if at the end, when you have like one or two spots left, one or two shapes left to paint, if you want to just use black, that's fine. I think that would be a cool way to remind yourself what you use to make a shade, because you have some plain of your color, like I have some plain red, you might have some plain pink or green or blue or purple, and then to have that plain black will also look really nice. Nice contrast. Okay, here we go. Ooh, baby, that looks good. Looking good. How are yours looking? I bet they're looking beautiful. And what I really like about this project is that you can get a little messy. You can paint outside the lines. See what I did? I can paint a little bit more like than I meant to on the blue, and it's not gonna bother. It's not gonna make it look messy when we take the tape off, because that's the little secret. That's like one of the last steps. When it's completely dry, we're gonna take off all of that tape, and you're gonna see it's gonna look like a really crisp, beautiful work of art. All right, I think I'm gonna add this one here. Oops. It might even help you while you're painting to turn the canvas or to turn your paper, whatever you're using. Which do you like better? Shades or tints? I think I like tints better. I just love how light they are. But it's fun to use something different. All right. I'm gonna add one more. No, I think I know what I'm gonna do. Now, remember I said once you add the black, you can't go back, right? So I cannot get this back to red. There's black in it, it's mixed, there's no going back. Say no going back. No going back. So I'm gonna use my red, because I think that I want to add a little bit more just plain red on my painting. So I'm gonna use the lid, and I'm gonna use some red. If you want to, you can get another plate, or you can wash off your paint palette, whatever's easiest for you. And I'm gonna use a clean brush. If you do this, if you decide that you wanna add a little bit more of the just the pure color that you started with, you have to use a clean brush, or you need to get a water bucket and clean out your dirty brush it off. All right. I just think that having more of this bright red will look really nice with the shades that I have. So I'm gonna add some down here if my tape will stay. All right. Let's make sure we make that nice and neat. Does it have to be perfect? No. Never. All you need to do, just like in the art room, just try your best, right? Because even if it doesn't look how you imagined you wanted it to be, it's a good learning experience. All right. Last but not least, I think I need another brush because I don't have water here. So I want to use just black now. That's what I'd like to do. If you don't want to use just black, that's fine. So let me get a brush. Ooh, I got a fancy new brush here. And I'm actually going to just use the cap again because I have some space. You do what you can do. Do what works for you, right? I'm going to get some black. Because black plus a color equals shade. Here we go. Okay, and I'm going to add some black into that last shape, that last geometric shape. So we're using a couple elements of art here, aren't we? Can you figure out what we're using? Which elements of art? Oh, I just realized that element of art that I forgot earlier. Form. Form, right? That means something that's 3D. So our canvas, is that 2D or 3D? If you're using a canvas like me, it's 3D. So that's one. Did we use any lines? I think so. The tape that I used, the blue tape, or the tape that you used, you made lines across your paper or your canvas. I think I need some more black. Okay, what else? So form, line. Did we use shapes? Yes, we did. And let's see, what else did we use? Did we use color? Of course. Did we use value? Of course, that's the element of art that we're really focusing on. I'm going to get that edge there. Bloop, 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 bloop. Doesn't have to be perfect. I think that you need to, not with your painty hands now, but later on, give yourself a pat on the back for all the hard work you've been doing at home. And it's okay if you've been feeling a bunch of different emotions. It's okay if you've been feeling sad some days. It's okay if you've been feeling like you're missing your teachers and your friends and you're just missing being in the school. I get it. I miss everybody too. And it's okay to feel those ways. But we're going to keep trying our best to keep moving on, right? All right. It's all painted. The next step is we are going to peel off the tape, but don't do it yet. It's very wet. If you do it now, it's going to get all messy and we're going to ruin it. So what we're going to do is we're going to let it dry, and then the last step will be to peel it off. So let's let that sit for a little while. All right, boys and girls, it's been a few hours. My painting is completely dry, better safe than sorry. And I'm really excited because I'm going to take off the tape. Now, I kind of took a little peek earlier and I noticed that when I started to peel the tape down, that some of the paint kind of got underneath the tape when I was painting, and so the line was a little bit messy. That's okay. We can always just kind of touch it up. Here it is. It's looking cool. I wonder if you remember the words abstract and realistic, and I wonder if you know what they mean in art. Would you say that the Cubist paintings that we made today are abstract or realistic? Remember, realistic means like real life. Abstract, not so much like real life. I think they're abstract. So, you can see what I was talking about with the edges that aren't so neat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to problem solve. Sometimes in the art room this happens if we make a mistake in our art. I don't usually let you start over unless you've tried other solutions. So for this, I got another little container. You can wash yours out. You can get a new plate, whatever it is that you are using, and you can kind of just touch up the edges. So I'm going to squirt a little bit of red. You don't need a lot because you're really just touching up. I'm wondering, I think I'm going to use a smaller brush this time, or one that's at least kind of pointy so you can make a nice straight edge. So I'm going to use just plain red on the spots that need to be touched up around the just plain red shapes. So for example, oops, here I see some that could be touched up. If it doesn't matter to you, if it doesn't look so messy or it doesn't bother you, feel free to not even do this step. That's totally up to you. But I'm just going to show you either way. Notice how we've been painting kind of carefully and slowly, at least right now. When we were painting between the tape, we were able to paint a little bit more quickly, and we didn't have to take so much care because the tape was there to protect the white. But right now we definitely have to be a little bit more careful with what we're doing if you are touching up. I think I'll touch up a little bit here. And if for some reason you accidentally whoop, like I just did, that's okay, right? Maybe I'll make this a little wider now. Just problem solve. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's your art. However you want it to look is perfectly fine. There's no judge. Nobody's judging your art. Nobody's telling you how you have to make yours. These are just suggestions. The most important thing is that you know how to make some shades now. Alrighty, it's looking neater. Now I'm going to add a little bit of black to make a shade, because I think I need to touch up some of my shades, like this shade. Ooh, that was a lot of black. Be careful how much black you add. I just added a little too much. That's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm just going to go over this color to make sure that it all matches. All right. Maybe a little bit over here. And boys and girls, the last step is you get to add any details that you want to add. So, for example, you can add patterns, you can add lines, you can add shapes. It's your artwork. Like I said, the most important thing is that you get to mix your own shades, because that's the skill that we were aiming to learn and practice. I'll just neaten this up. Okay. Beautiful. Mwah. Now, for the sake of time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop making the edges neat, and I'm just going to show you, for example, what you could do with the little details of your painting. So I don't have a water bucket, so I'm just going to put this down and wash it after. And let me see, I'm going to go get a tiny brush. I'll be right back. All right. So I have a tiny brush. I'm going to challenge you to use tints also, because I think the tints will really pop and they'll really look nice against your shades. But like I said, you can make yours different. If you want, you can just use shades. It's your choice. I'm going to add some tints. So I'm going to add I have white in the cap of, it's kind of hard to see. There you go. I have white in my cap. I'm just going to add a little bit of red. Don't want too much. And I really like a lot of tiny details and patterns. So I got a very, very tiny brush, and I'm going to add some little lines. And there's just the beginnings of my mixing, my tint. How do you make a tint? Color plus, what did I put in here with the red? White. All right. So maybe, for example, I will add some little lines. Very abstract, right? Maybe I'll add some dots and lines. You do your own thing. It is your beautiful artwork. And if it is on a canvas, the cool thing is after this dries, you have something that you can hang up. And it will look very official. Maybe I'll turn it a little bit. Maybe I will, I know what I'm going to do. I like lines, diagonal lines. And I'm just going to stop there, and I'll show you a picture of it when it's finished. So, I cannot wait to see your finished paintings. I'm really excited about that. I hope you had a good time learning about how to mix the opposite of tints, shades. And I'm just hoping that I'll get to see you soon. So keep up the great work. I'm so proud of you. I miss you, and I'm thinking of you. And I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye. Bye, boys and girls. Stay well.